The Geographica, or Geography, is an encyclopedia of geographical knowledge, consisting of 17 books, written in Greek by Strabo, an educated citizen of the Roman Empire of Greek descent. Work can have begun in no earlier than 20 BC. A first edition was published in 07 BC, followed by a gap resumption of work and a final edition no later than 23 AD in the last year of Strabo's life. Strabo probably worked on his geography and now missing history concurrently, as the geography contains a considerable amount of historical data. Except for parts of Book 7, the complete work is known. Title of the work. Strabo refers to his geography within it by several names: Geographia, description of the earth; Chorographia, description of the land; Periogesis, an outline; Periodosges, circuit of the earth; Periodietes chorus, circuit of the land. Apart from the outline, two words recur: earth and country, something of a theorist. Strabo explains what he means by geography and chorography. It is the sea more than anything else that defines the contours of the land and gives it its shape, by forming gulfs, deep seas, straits and likewise isthmuses, peninsulas, and promontories, but both the rivers and the mountains assist the seas herein. It is through such natural features that we gain a clear conception of continents, nations, favorable positions of cities and all the other diversified details with which our geographical map is filled. From this description it is clear that by geography Strabo means ancient physical geography and by chorography, political geography. The two are combined in this work, which makes a circuit of the earth, detailing the physical and political features. Strabo often uses the adjective Geographica with reference to the works of others and to geography in general, but not of his own work. In the Middle Ages it became the standard name used of his work. Date. The date of Geographica is a large topic, perhaps because Strabo worked on it along with his history for most of his adult life. He traveled extensively, undoubtedly gathering notes, and made extended visits to Rome and Alexandria, where he is sure to have spent time in the famous library taking notes from his sources. Strabo visited Rome in 44 BC at age 19 or 20, apparently for purposes of education. He studied under various persons, including Turanian, a captive educated Greek and private tutor, who instructed Cicero's two sons. Cicero says, "The geographical work I had planned is a big undertaking, if I take Turanian's views too." If one presumes that Strabo acquired the motivation for writing geography during his education, the latter must have been complete by the time of his next visit to Rome in 35 BC at 29 years old. He may have been gathering notes, but the earliest indication that he must have been preparing them is his extended visit to Alexandria 2520 BC. In 20 he was 44 years old. His numerous excerpts from the works of his predecessors are most likely to have been noted at the library there. Whether these hypothetical notes first found their way into his history and then into his geography, or were simply ported along as notes, remains unknown. Most of the events of the life of Augustus mentioned by Strabo occurred 317 BC with a gap 06 BC to 14 AD, which can be interpreted as an interval after first publication in 07 BC. Then in 19 AD a specific reference dates a passage. He said that the Kana and Noricai had been at peace since they were stopped from their riotous incursions by Drusus 33 years ago, which was 15 BC, dating the passage 19 AD. The latest event mentioned is the death of Juba at no later than 23 AD, when Strabo was in his 80s. These events can be interpreted as a second edition unless he saved all his notes and wrote the book entirely after the age of 80. Composition. Strabo is his own best expounder of his principles of composition. In short, this book of mine should be useful alike to the statesman and to the public at large, as was my work on history. And so, after I had written my historical sketches, I determined to write the present treatise also, for this work is based on the same plan, and is addressed to the same class of readers, and particularly to men of exalted stations in life. In this work also I must leave untouched what is petty and inconspicuous, and devote my attention to what is noble and great, and to what contains the practically useful, or memorable, or entertaining. For it, too, is a colossal work, in that it deals with the facts about large things only, and holds subject matter. An outline of the encyclopedia follows, with links to the appropriate Wikipedia article. Book 1, Definition and History of Geography, pages C1 through C67, Loeb, Volume 1, pages 3 to 249. Chapter 1, Description of Geography and this encyclopedia. Chapter 2, Contributors to Geography. Chapter 3, Physical Geography. Chapter 4, Political Geography. Book 2, Mathematics of Geography, pages C67 through C136. Loeb, Volume 1, pages 252 to 521. Chapter 1, Distances between parallels and meridians. Chapter 2, The 5 zones. Chapter 3, Distribution of plants, animals, civilizations. Chapter 4, Criticisms of Polybius and Eratosthenes' maps. Chapter 5, Strabo's view of the Ecumena. Book 3, Iberian Peninsula. Chapter 1, Vicinity of the Sacred Cape. Chapter 2, Boeotia. Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Book IV, Gaul, Britain, Alps. Book V, Italy to Campania. Book V, South Italy, Sicily. Book 7, North, East and Central Europe. Chapter 1, Germania. Chapter 2, Germania. Chapter 3, Northern Black Sea region. Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 7, Book 8, Greece. Book IX, more on Greece. Chapter 1, Attica. Chapter 2, Boeotia. Chapter 3, Phasis. Chapter 5, Locris. Chapter 6, Thessaly. Book X, yet more on Greece, Greek islands. Chapter 1, Euboea. Chapter 2, Aetolia and Acarnania. Chapter 4, Creta. Chapter 5, Archipelagos. Book Xi, Russia east of the Don, the Transcaucasus, northwest Iran, Central Asia. Chapter 1 to 2, East of the Don. Chapter 3, Iberia. Chapter 4, Albania. Chapter 5, Armenia and Caucasus. Chapter 9, Parthia. Chapter 10, Arya and Marjanov. Chapter 11, Bactria. Book 12, Anatolia. Chapter 1 to 2, Cappadocia. Chapter 3, Pontus. Chapter 4, Bithynia. Chapter 5 to 7, Galatia, Lycaonia and Pisidia. Chapter 8, Phrygia. Book 13, Northern Aegean. Book 14, Eastern Aegean. Book 15, Persia, Ariana, the Indian subcontinent. Book 16, Middle East. Book 17, North Africa. Chapter 1, Nile, Egypt, Cyrenaica. Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Publications. Some 30 manuscripts of Geographica or parts of it have survived, almost all of them medieval copies of copies, though there are fragments from papyrus rolls which were probably copied out c. 100–300 AD. Scholars have struggled for a century and a half to produce an accurate edition close to what Strabo wrote. A definitive one has been in publication since 2002, appearing at a rate of about a volume a year. Editions: Ancient Greek. Kramer, Gustav, ed. Strabonus Geographica, 3 vols, containing books 1 to 17. Berlin, Friedrichs Nikolaus, 1844–52. Ancient Greek and English. Strabo, Horace Leonard Jones, John Robert Sitlington Sterrett. The Loeb Classical Library. The Geography of Strabo. In 8 volumes. Cambridge, Massachusetts, London, England. Harvard University Press, William Heinemann Limited. ISBN 0-674-99055-2. Site uses deprecated parameter. Co-authors equals contains books 1 to 17. Greek on the left page, English on the right. Sterrett translated books I and II and wrote the introduction before dying in 1915. Jones changed Sterrett's style from free to more literal and finished the translation. French Tardieu, AM Écoute d'Écouter, Géographie de Strabon, Traduction Nouvelle, Dexima edition, Tome Premiere, Paris, Librairie Hachette, Books I, buy only, downloadable Google Books, Tardieu, AM Écoute d'Écouter, Géographie de Strabon, Traduction Nouvelle, Tome Dexima, Paris, Librairie Hachette, Books 7-12 only, downloadable Google Books, German Rad, Stefan Strabon's Geographica, Göttingen, Vandenhoek and Ruprecht, Books I 17 in 10 volumes.